Good afternoon. It's Wednesday, September 4. I'm Herman Green with your midday news. A special welcome to those of you watching online at onespotmedia.com. Just 3 days before the delegates vote to decide on the People's National Party PNP president, there are some stunning claims from the Dr. Peter Phillips-led camp that agents working for Peter Bunting and his Rise United camp are buying votes for $10,000. Dr. Phillips' one PNP camp discussed the concerns during a press conference at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in Kingston a short while ago. Our reporter Dwayne Anderson is at the Jamaica Pegasus. We now join him live for the very latest. Dwayne?
Thank you, Herman. So we're here at the Jamaica Pegasus in Kingston. I'm joined by the Vice President of the People's National Party, Damien Crawford, and the Treasurer of the PNP, Lisa Hanna. Ms. Hanna, I'll start with you first because you made some comments earlier which about happenings in the party leading up to this delegates vote on Saturday that you're not particularly happy with, concerns the use of money. What exactly is your concern?
Well, to say that I'm not happy would be an overstatement. And one of the reasons for us having this press conference today was to speak about and give the nation and certainly our delegates an update with 3 days to go on where we are in our campaign, and we are very, very confident of victory on September 7. It's clear that the other side have been using some tactics to try and implore delegates financially, and as soon as they go to the delegates and members of the other team's leadership, the delegates call many of us in one PNP and say, look, they're being induced to vote for the other side. They don't like it. And certainly the tenets and philosophies that we believe in as a party don't subscribe to that kind of value system in our political movement.
You mentioned the philosophy of the party. The PNP often positions itself as the soul of Jamaica's democracy in terms of the use of funds in election campaigning. Mr. Crawford, what kind of message do you believe this sends to the wider public about what's happening in the party when they hear about the use of money in this delegates race?
Well, firstly, it depreciates our ability to go out there and to campaign against this, but it also now depreciates people's confidence that we are for a particular group of people in the main. Because if you're being funded by those who are investors in politics, then you may not be for policies for those who are in need of your policies. And so therefore it diminishes our ability to be successful in an election.
Ms. Hanna, 3 days to go. Where's Dr. Phillips now? Will he win?
Absolutely. He will win. Our campaign manager, our campaign chairman, our campaign team, 100% of our senators support one PNP. Close to 80% of all candidates and members of parliament support one PNP. 69 of the 90 councillors, minority leaders support one PNP. The women's movement, the president, and 5 of the 6 vice presidents support one PNP. And certainly if you look across the NEC and what happened at the RECs, when the delegates, the same delegates who will vote on September 7th, came out to the RECs 2 Sundays ago, they voted one PNP and made sure that our NEC is supportive of Dr. Peter Phillips.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hanna and Mr. Crawford.
75% of the candidates for the next election, 75% of the candidates for the next election support Dr. Peter Phillips.
Thank you so much, guys. Well, so we're getting the wrap, so we have to go back to our studio. So it's back to you, Herman.
All right, thank you. Our reporter Dwayne Anderson there from the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. Now, Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Information, Carl Samuda, says the Integrity Commission is high on the agenda of Prime Minister Andrew Holness in the wake of concerns about the anti-corruption body. On Monday, news came that Justice Carl Harrison, chairman of the commission, had resigned. That announcement came just days after the retirement of Acting Director of Corruption Prosecutions, Dirk Harrison. The parliamentary opposition and civil society group, National Integrity Action, have been calling for an urgent review of the commission to more effectively fulfill its objective. At this morning's post-cabinet media briefing, Mr. Samuda was asked whether there will be a review of the Integrity Commission Act.
Or even whether or not there is to be an extensive review of the Integrity Commission Act. What I can say is that it is receiving the full attention. It is receiving the full attention of the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, because it is a very fundamental commission on which a lot relies, depends, and we rely on the membership of that commission to discharge their responsibilities in an impartial and professional manner.
Mr. Samuda was also not able to state how soon the vacant positions would be filled.
And I have absolutely no doubt in my mind whatsoever that the positions that have been made vacant by the retirement of Judge Harrison and the former Contractor General, Dirk Harrison, I have no doubt whatsoever that those positions will be filled by persons of high integrity and professionalism. There's no question about that. So it is receiving our full attention.
As part of Jamaica's assistance to Bahamas, Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says he will appeal to some 120 countries next week to lend a helping hand to the hurricane-battered island. Mr. Bartlett will be making a presentation at the United Nations World Tourism Organization General Assembly in Russia.
Next week, the UNWTO has their General Assembly in St. Petersburg in Russia, and I will be going to present the case overall for further collaboration with the Center in relation to dealing with Caribbean vulnerabilities. In the process, I will be supporting the Bahamas in their own recovery effort, and I will be partnering with the minister there to ensure that a full appreciation of the extent of the damage in the area and the extent of support that is required is realized by all of the partners who will be coming from about 120 countries from across the world, meeting in St. Petersburg.
And we now take a break here on the Midday News, but stay with us. More stories after these messages. Welcome back, continuing the news. The business community in St. James says the state of emergency in the parish is no longer working in stemming crime, especially murders. It's an assessment at least one security expert agrees with, as concerns emerge that the security forces are stretched, reducing the effect of their presence in some communities. Now, TVJ's Giovanni Dennis reports.
Montego Bay St. James is unquestionably beautiful, but the center of tourism in Jamaica is also an epicenter of violence. 90 people were murdered in the parish up to August 31. It's 23 more than the 67 at the same time in 2018, a 34% increase. President of the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce, Janet Silvera, says the figures show the state of emergency is no longer effective.
Maybe the police have just become stretched and that they need to bring back the numbers that we had started out with when the SOE started over a year ago. If that is not done, we're going to continue to have the situation that we now have.
4 people were murdered in the parish between Friday and Monday, including a well-known businessman. Security consultant Robert Finley-Smith, speaking on Smile Jamaica Tuesday morning, explains why he thinks the SOEs may be losing their potency.
The problem with an SOE is that it's like certain medicines. You can administer medicine for a short-term relief situation, then the body starts to become used to the medicine. So after a while, the effect of the medicine falls.
Ms. Silvera says the fear gripping the parish is now forcing business owners to implement measures for their staff safety.
A number of our members have said that they have to be transporting their employees to work, and they also have to be providing security for them when they're leaving work at nights.
She insists the business community in St. James is willing to help in crime reduction initiatives.
But we have to sit at the same table. Currently, we're asking for a meeting. We need a meeting to discuss where we're falling down, see how best we can help.
Giovanni Dennis, TVJ News.
Human rights advocate Susan Goff is raising concern about several unfinished roads in the corporate area, which she believes pose a threat to both pedestrians and motorists. The details in this report.
Even though the roadworks in the corporate area are incomplete, human rights advocate Susan Goff believes that road markings and signs should be installed to prevent safety hazards to pedestrians and motorists. Ms. Goff complains that not enough emphasis is being placed on the safety aspect of the roadworks, especially with more children now traversing the streets. She explains that pedestrians have a difficult time navigating the roadways and things are worse for vulnerable persons such as the disabled and elderly. While speaking on RGR's Beyond the Headlines on Tuesday, Ms. Goff said she has been informed that road markings and signs are not yet placed on the roads because work has not been completed.
People have said yes, but you wouldn't expect them to put those until the roads are finished. But no, I do, because people have had to cross those roads throughout the road construction. There wasn't a decision on the part of people in that area. We will not cross roads. We do not need to cross roads. People have had to be crossing the roads. What temporary interim provisions have been put in place? And a lot of those points have schools, have churches, have banks, have plazas, shops, etc. People cross. They need to.
Meanwhile, Ms. Goff concluded that the current situation stems from a lack of consideration for vulnerable persons, as the complaints are not new.
I felt that there was a complete disregard and utter contempt for road users. In this case, the focus on pedestrians. Absolutely a failure to plan, a failure to acknowledge that people have had to continue using the roads in the varying states of the project. Throughout the duration, there has been this disregard for the public. And part of my difficulty is that this is not isolated. They have been highlighted, certainly in social media, in the other media, and there has been no change.
Rashid Masters, TVJ News.
And now for a look at what's coming up in this evening's Health Report.
In the next edition of the Health Report, we look at postpartum depression.
There's no question that postpartum depression is underdiagnosed, as with the other types of depression throughout the island. And this is because lots of people do not think that depression is an illness and should be treated. And therefore, when somebody is treated, even doctors, they will tell them to snap out of it.
That's the Health Report this evening in Primetime News. And now for today's Healthy Living tip. Build a secure bond with your baby. Take care of yourself. Slowly reintroduce exercise. Build a support network and try psychotherapy and medication.
We go now to news and sports. CEO of Mount Pleasant Academy Football Club, Peter Gold, says he had to do what was right in making the decision to dismiss head coach Donovan Dookie. Dookie was relieved of his duties with the club on Monday following Sunday's 2-1 defeat to Harbourview in the Red Stripe Premier League.
If Donovan Dookie thought Sunday's defeat to Harbourview was a shocker, then just imagine his mood on Monday when he received an email that his services were no longer required at Mount Pleasant Academy. But CEO of Mount Pleasant, Peter Gould, says while Sunday's 2-1 defeat was not the only reason to terminate Dookie's contract, it was the last straw.
I've got a direction I want the club to go. I thought we were going the right direction. But certainly, I don't want to be 8 games in like everyone else does. 8 games in and look up on the table and think there's a huge climb. I want to climb now and then look below us.
Gould says he was also tired of the excuses.
And to hear excuses, I just thought, I'm not going to... And I heard the same excuses come to me, starting to come. I'm thinking, I'm not a man who's going to listen to excuses. I want action.
And the excuses were not Dookie's only problems, but it seems his ego as well.
I like the man personally. But when someone thinks that their ego has actually overtaken the club and themselves, it's nothing. I'm going to stand there and watch. I've got the biggest ego in the world.
Paul Teague Davis will now return as head coach, a decision Gould says was easy to make.
Coming here to the training and seeing Teague Davis being pushed over to the side and not involved. And I told the manager, Dookie, get him involved, right? And I asked him personally, I said, you're disrespecting the club. putting him out there. He's coming in from Mowbray every single morning and not getting involved. And I felt disrespected. And I'm sure Teagat felt disrespected and everyone else behind. And it's something that was made my decision to cease his employment.
And as for Teagat, who took charge of his first session on Tuesday, he was happy to be back at the helm.
I was all in charge, you know. I was all in charge. I said before, I do what I have to do. But, you know, take out the monk, you know, it's a challenge again. Yeah, you know, it's a challenge. But, you know, I think, it, you know, with the guys, them adapt to my style and my principle, I think things can happen.
The full interview can be seen on Thursday during Center Circle on TVJ starting at 9 p.m. Jermaine Brown reporting for TVJ Sports.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the News, Sports and Production teams, good afternoon.